Okay, I am going to continue reading The Horn God of the Witches. I do need to fix this thing first, though. There we go. Okay. Okay, let's get into it. This is chapter 15. Uh, John Barleycorn Ritual is the title of chapter 18. Sorry, chapter 15, not 18, chapter 15. The English folk song John Barleycorn is one of the most well known tunes of the witchcraft world. The version of Barleycorn most of us are familiar with today evolved over several hundred years and tells the story of how barley turned into beer or whiskey. The idea of personifying barley as a person comes from 15th century Scotland, while the character of John Barleycorn was created, who was created the following century in England. By the mid 18th century, the story of John Barleycorn had been set to music and became a popular English drinking song. The tune sounds rather gruesome until one one is let in on the joke, and many recorded versions of the tune seem to take it all far too seriously, especially the well-known version of the band uh, Traffic recorded in 1970. Uh, the song opens with three men from the West vowing that uh, John Barleycorn must die, and then putting him into the ground and throwing clods upon his head. These murderous men leave him in the ground until at least the summer solstice, where he ripens and grows a beard, an allusion to the now visible grain at the top of the stalk. John is cut down, bundled, and tied together, and allowed to dry for a couple of weeks. He's then taken to a barn where he is beaten with sticks, thrashed to remove the wheat from the chaff. Don't want to knock over my drink. There we go. John Barleycorn is then turned into beer or whiskey and triumphs over those who have treated him so violently by getting them drunk. In an extremely clever tune, it has been sung and performed over 500 years now. It also expertly tells the story of how grain is gathered each year, which is why it's such a popular tale with witches and has been a part of thousands of Lamas, Mabon, and uh, Samhain rituals. Traditional pictures of John Barleycorn don't include horns, but as a figure associated with an abundant harvest, the joys of beer and whiskey, and the turning of the wheel, he is often linked to the horn god in figures like Green Man by modern witches. Folk music historians once theorized that the song had origins in medieval witchcraft since it so perfectly summarizes the idea of the dying and rising god found in the works of both James Frazer and Margaret Murray. The connection to witchcraft and the dying and rising god, here called the Corn King, was even included in popular books on the subject, such as the Penguin Book of English Folk Songs in 1958. Were so convinced of the song's ancient connection to witchcraft that it showed up in the Book of Shadows of English Witch, and the founder of the Alexandrian tradition, Alexander's 1926 through 1988, during the 1960s, and most likely the ritual books of hundreds of other witches as well. Sanders was not media shy, once let a German TV crew record a witch ritual based on John Barleycorn. According to the observers, a female coven member mimicked the corn in the field by being cut down, rising from the ground, and then finally being threshed. Uh, the ritual ended with coveners gleefully throwing flour and beer at the Corn Queen. Apparently, it was both ridiculous and wonderful, according to the non witches who were part of the rite. The ritual doesn't include anything messy as that, but it does tap into John Barleycorn as a transformational figure and celebrates the end result of his murder, whiskey or beer or something non alcoholic, depending on the needs of your coven or group. This is the perfect kind of ritual for Lammas or Maven, and or it can be done at any time in the late summer or early fall. Like the song that inspired it, the rite is not meant to be taken all that seriously. I don't ever want to uh, tr- uh, I don't ever want to trivialize the work we do as witches, but we are also allowed to have fun. There are dozens of versions of John Barleycorn, but all of them tell the same story. The only major differences are slight variations in word choice. The version I've chosen here is mainly from uh, ancient poems, ballads, and songs of the pe- peasantry of England, which was published in 1857 and edited by Robert Bell. The last stanza was taken from the Bard's Book of Pagan Songs by Hugen the Bard. Most of the text reflects the origin sources, though I changed a few words here and there to make it more gender inclusive and easier to say. The last stanza is heavily adapted to more accurately reflect the workings of the ritual. I suggest simply reading the poem for your ritual. Most versions of the song are too long and too Drenz-like for ritual, but do what makes the most sense to you. In addition to the version by Traffic, there are great renditions of the song out there by Jethro Tull, and Tull is spelled Tull, and Pagandom's own Demph, uh, Demph the Bard. Uh, let's see, ritual supplies. For this ritual, you will need your usual altar setup, stalks of grain or the leaves from an ear of corn, wheat shives, wheat sheaves, can usually be purchased at craft stores. Even better if you pick your own. Alternatively, corn leaves can be used as well. A bottle of beer, whiskey, and or other beverage. Use what your group prefers to be, and be sure to have a non-alcoholic alternative on hand. Rubber bands or twine to secure your sheaves of grain or leaves to bottle. You want to you want the sheaves or leaves to be easy to remove, as people will be pulling them off from around the bottle. The ritual. Begin the ritual by setting up your magical container, casting a circle, calling the quarters, etc. Once everything has been set up to your specifications, call to the horn god as John Barleycorn to come and be part of your ritual. High priestess, on the sacred night of the haven, we call the horn one, the king of the corn, the god of the grain, and the lord of the harvest is John Barleycorn, the embodiment of the fields and the harvest. Bring to us your powers of transformation as we honor your sacrifice and we remove the chaff from our lives and stand in our circle reborn as children of the harvest. Bless our right with laughter and joy as we celebrate you and the opportunities given to us. Horn One be with us tonight in the guise of John Barleycorn, Harvest Lord, hail and welcome. Other deities and powers may be called now if the coven wishes. Once that business has been completed, carry on with the ritual. High Priestess. Tonight we honor the harvest and the sacrifice of the horn god in the form of John Barleycorn, for it is the horn one's selflessness that brings to us the gifts of the grain, bread, beer, and whiskey. The story of the god has been told in the tale of John Barleycorn for hundreds of years, and tonight we share it once more. High Priest. There come three folks out of the west, their victory to try, and they have taken a solemn oath, poor Barleycorn should die. They took a plow and plowed him in, and harrowed clods on his head, and then they took a solemn oath, poor Barleycorn was dead. There he lay sleeping in the ground, till rain from the sky did fall. Then Barleycorn sprung up his head, and so amazed them all. There he remained till midsummer, and looked both pale and wan. Then Barleycorn he got a bread, and so became a man. Then Barleycorn he got a beard, and so became a man. Then they sent farm help with scythes so sharp to cut him off at knee. And then poor little Barleycorn they served him barbarously. They then hired farm help with pitchforks strong to pierce him through the heart, and like a dreadful tragedy, they bound him to a cart. Then they brought him to a barn, a prisoner to endure, and so they fetched him out again and laid him on the floor. Then they sent folks with holy clubs to beat the flesh from his bones. But the miller, he served him worse than that, for they ground him betwixt two stones. O Barleycorn is the choicest grain that ever was sown on land. It will do more than any grain by the turning of your hand. But little Sir John of the nut brown bowl and the barley in his glass, I, little Sir John of the nut brown bowl, proved the strongest man at last. For John transformed does live on and on by magic born of horn. And now we witches shall cast our spells with the help of John Barleycorn. At the conclusion of the poem, the high priestess picks up the John Barleycorn figure, the bottle wrapped with grain, and shows it to the coven high priestess. The sacrifice of John Barleycorn offers us several paths of transformation. The threshing of the grain removes from the unwanted chaff. Tonight, our barleycorn offers us opportunity to remove that which we do not want from our lives. As we pass around our John Barleycorn, place into the wheat whatever it is that no longer serves you. It can be a habit, an attitude, or a relationship. Whatever roadblock is holding you back, place that energy in John Barleycorn. You can even whisper it into the grain if that works for you. Then you feel like what you want to remove is within our barleycorn. Pass him along to the person next to you. John Barleycorn is now passed around the circle clockwise, uh, Dealsil, so it means to the right, until everyone has had a moment with him. If there's some of your circle taking a really long time with John Barleycorn, it's perfectly acceptable to remind them that the harvest is coming as a subtle reminder to keep things moving. High Priestess. And now we rend skin from bone and cast out what no longer serves us. When John Barleycorn comes to you, pull a sheaf of grain from his body and throw it to the ground. For the sacrifice of the harvest of the horn god readies the grain, but also takes from us that which no longer serves us. Tonight we witches work out magic with the help of John Barleycorn. As you pull out your piece of grain from John Barleycorn, say the grain from chaff and hold it in your hand. John Barleycorn passed around once more, with everyone pulling a piece of grain from him. Once your John Barleycorn has made its way around the circle, the high priestess should explain the next part of the rite. High priestess, like the chaff that falls to the to the threshing floor room, we now throw to the ground that which no longer serves us. John Barleycorn, as Lord of the harvest, we ask that you take from us that which we no longer need, which is to work our magic and release energy. Let us repeat the following chant: from all ills and harms, may we be free. In John Barleycorn's name, so mote it be. Repeat until everyone has the chant down. As we chant, envision that which you wish to be rid of, and see it falling away from you. On my signal, when the energy has reached its peak, we will throw our chaff to the ground. The high priestess begins the chant, and if possible, it makes perfect sense to move around here and dance around the circle where the chant goes on. The longer the chant goes on, the more the energy will build. When the energy reaches its peak, the high priestess should indicate that it's time for everyone to throw their grain to the ground. This can be done by holding up a finger or shouting something like last time. Before the final round of the chant, after everyone throws their grain to the ground, the high priestess should let everyone catch their breath and then continue. High priestess, the god has taken from us that which we no longer want. Horn one, we thank you for your sacrifice, and we know that your sacrifice is not the end. It's simply the start of another transformation. For your fall and harvest leads to many blessings. It gives us bread, beer, and whiskey, for we know that behind our death in the fields lie happiness, joy, and the waters of life. For behold, our little John Barleycorn is with us once more. The high priestess holds the John Barleycorn aloft, perhaps removing several more sheaves of grain to reveal the bottom beneath. High priestess, for death is not the end, but a new beginning, which is let us drink the gift of the sacrificial God and let its essence wash over us. Let us drink in our new life, free from the what holds us back from reaching our full potential as witches. The wine or beer can now be poured into a communal cup and passed around, or into individual glasses, depending on the preference of the coven. As the cup is passed along, everyone can be encouraged to engage in the toast to celebrate the corn god and the harvest. When the drinking is finished, be sure to thank John Barleycorn before closing the rest of the circle. High Priestess, Harvest Lord, King of the Corn, Eternal John Barleycorn, thank you for being with us tonight in our circle. We thank you for your sacrifice this harvest season and for helping us to better our lives. As you make your way to the realms of the dead, we ask you to watch over our beloved dead while you continue to be with us in the forms of your transformation. Hail John Barleycorn, hail the Horn God. Until next we meet in the circle, we now say hail and farewell. The ritual should be concluded as the coven sees fit. Be sure to save some beer or whiskey from your bottle as an offer, as a libation to the Horn One at the end of the rite.